Hey guys, John Rettinger here. The nüvifone is a brand new offering from Garmin, and it's built on an operating system no one's seen before. It was built off of a Linux kernel, but it's a completely new interface. So I wanted to give you guys a tour of it so you can decide if the nüvifone G60 is an option for you or not. So let's go ahead and unlock the device. You push the button at the top, double tap to unlock, and this is a resistive screen. So as you go through and navigate, you'll notice you've got a row of 3 icons: call, search, and view map. I'll do a separate video going into the navigation functions of the phone, since that really is one of its primary jobs. But for now, let's talk about the operating system of the phone itself. So call takes you to a pretty simple and relatively elegant looking caller interface. So you've got all your contacts that will show up here. You've got a dial pad and a call history. You can add a contact very easily. And the scrolling is relatively smooth. You can add emails, add addresses, and add a ton of different contact information. And to go back, since there is not a home button, you have to rely on those keys of arrows. Search takes you to the GPS, and this is what you'll see if you're familiar with any sort of Garmin standalone GPS unit. This is going to look exactly the same. But again, there'll be a separate video focusing just on navigation. And the view map takes you to the map, which again opens up the GPS functionality. So the main sort of crux of the operating system is done from this right-hand row of icons, and you can scroll through them, and as I'll show you in a minute, you can rearrange them any way you'd like. But for now, let me show you what they are. So you've got contacts, text messages, emails. Just open one up. Go back. I opened up the map by accident. Text messages, email, web browser, camera, weather, tools, settings, chow, which I'll talk about, media player, and calendar. So let me walk you through each of these. Contacts you just saw. Text messaging is a pretty standard text messaging interface. You go ahead and hit new message, and you can type to or start typing in the message. And it relies, of course, on a full virtual keyboard. This does have an accelerometer, so when you turn the device, you do get a landscape keyboard. I will say the landscape keyboard is actually pretty good. You get sort of the same ability that you got on the iPhone. You can move letters around. So let me do a test here, and I'll type something out on the keyboard. This is a test. So only one little error, but you can get used to this keyboard very fast. If you're worried about the keyboard on the G60, don't. It's actually quite good. And you go ahead and hit done or send, whatever you'd like. We'll go back to standard view here. We will exit out. And we'll go back. It's having a little bit of trouble. Oops, it was upside down. There we go. So let's go back to our tour of the device. So moving right along, you've got email. This is a very standard email functionality. You're going to get POP and you're going to get IMAP access. But at least right now, you are not going to be getting any sort of exchange service, unfortunately. It's a very simple email application. I'll show you what it looks like if you want to set one up. Add account, and you just put in the simple information. It's relatively simplistic, sort of what you would find on a feature phone. You're not going to get a BlackBerry email experience. You're not going to even get an iPhone email experience. But you will be able to get email. So if email is a secondary concern to you, but you still want to get it, the nüvifone should be something to consider. So moving right along, we've got the web browser. And this does have a full HTML-capable web browser with 3G. Right now I'm connected over Wi-Fi. So let's do a test of a web page here. And I'll show you sort of the speed at which this loads over a relatively fast Wi-Fi connection. So we turn this into landscape mode again. And we will go to there's TechnoBuffalo.com. So we will hit done, and we'll launch that and see how quickly it loads, and I'll show you a little bit about what the browser looks like. So this is not the fastest of web browsers. On most phones, so the iPhone, BlackBerry Storm, T-Mobile G1, or really a host of other devices, we would have already had the page load by now. So the load times on this are not very quick. However, once the page is loaded, you can get a very nice view of the internet. Although as you can see, it definitely takes some time. So I'm going to cut the camera here and fast forward to when the page is loaded. Okay, so here we are on the landing page of TechnoBuffalo. Since this isn't a web browser speed test, I cut the camera not to bore you, but it took about 25 seconds for the page to load. Now, once you're here, you do not get flash capable video, so you're not going to be able to play YouTube videos, but you do get relatively smooth flick scrolling. However, there's not any multi-touch, and there isn't double tap to zoom in. Most of your controls and zooming in are done by these two buttons down here. So you can zoom in with the positive, zoom out with the negative. And the text does clear itself, and it's very legible. It is a decent browser. It's not the best that's out there, but it's certainly not the worst. If you want to do web browsing, this is a capable browser. And all your navigation is done from this bar on the side. So let's go back, and let's continue our overview of the device. Keep turning it upside down. So you got web browser. Next thing we have is a camera, and this has a 3 megapixel autofocus camera. Right now it's asking me if I want to disable screenshot mode. And what that means, you can actually hold down the camera button. It'll take a screenshot of whatever is on your screen. It's actually a very nice feature. So we're not going to disable that right now, but we are going to go into the camera. So there goes a picture of my desk. It's keeping true with the operating system itself, it's a very simplistic interface. I don't have any controls or options. Really, I take advantage of the button at the top to snap my picture. So we can snap one of some papers on my desk. And it takes a picture. And it's letting me know the screenshot utility is still on. These pop-ups can get a little bit on the annoying side. But the camera pictures are clear, what you'd expect from a 3 megapixel sensor on a phone. Definitely on par with the camera quality that you get on the iPhone, although there is not any video recording capabilities as of yet. So continuing, we'll keep moving down. Now, weather is interesting. Weather is on your home screen, but you actually don't get access to the weather unless you subscribe to an additional AT&T plan, which is quite interesting. So if you hit weather, and this doesn't make that much sense, you could just go to weather.com on the browser and check your local weather. But you'll see here this is going to ask me to activate data connection, and it's checking to see if I've got the required server subscriptions. This is an extra cost from AT&T. I believe it comes in at around $4 or $5. So if I want to get the premium access, I can get the first 30 days for free. Otherwise, at the end, I'm going to be charged $5.99. And you don't just get weather with that $5.99. You also actually get real-time traffic updates on the GPS. So you're getting a lot with it, but it's another $6 charge from AT&T. It's not required at all, though, to use the navigation functions on the device. All those maps are built in and don't require any sort of network connectivity. So it can't really show you weather. Let's take a look at tools. And I was going to make a joke there about, well, we'll keep going. So you've got where am I? It'll pull up the map. You've got a calculator, clock. You can synchronize this with your PC. I've not been able to get it to synchronize with a Mac, though. Although you can access mass storage and drag things over to its 4 megabytes of internal storage, or you can up that via the expansion card slot. Flight status turns off the data. You get a unit converter, some help, traffic search, notes, and a checklist. Pretty standard feature phone functionality. Settings. Settings was much more simplistic than I expected. System settings, general, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Let's just go into general. And here it's really just on, off for a lot of things. You don't have the ability to tweak a lot of your settings. It's really very cut and dry with what you want. So distance units, temperature units, GPS simulator. Really not that many options that you get, and that's sort of slimmed down approach is taken throughout the entire menu system. So audio, controls your audio here, vibrate, sounds, mixer, proximity points. And phone navigation, you get some very simple navigation options, whether you want it to have it treat you as in a car or whether or not you're just walking. Pedestrian directions are quite nice, though, if you're in a metropolitan city which relies on walking quite a bit, like New York City or DC, for example. And display, you just get some very simple display options. Now, applications, you might be thinking, wow, this has an app store. You're going to be disappointed. This does not have an app store, at least not yet. I don't believe that Garmin has announced one. This just shows you the applications settings that you have on the phone, email, browser, and main menu order. So you can reorder that row of icons on the right-hand side. So we'll keep going back. Now here's something called Chow. And Chow is essentially geotagging your pictures. It's similar to HTC's Footsteps, like you've seen on other devices. It puts in some information on every picture you take to let you know where you were. You can add some notes into it, and so you can always remember where your pictures were taken, or send them to friends. So that's all Chow is. It does have a rudimentary music player. Simple play, I'm saying simple a lot. Play, back, forward functionality, you can add a track. You're not going to get the most elegant of music interfaces, but it does work and it is functional. And you can drag tracks on there just by plugging in via your mini USB. It does have full calendar functionality, so you can sort of view your dates. You go ahead and add appointments. It's got today's date circled, so it's obviously the 2nd. And you can go ahead and add things if you'd like. And that is the last icon choice that we have on the nüvifone. This phone and the operating system itself was first shown about 20 months ago by Garmin, and really not much has changed since then. So that's either positive or negative depending on how you look at it. Overall, the device does quite a lot. It doesn't do anything other than navigation particularly well, but it does do a lot of things. So if you're looking for a device that sort of can handle a lot, but maybe not have the most elegant of interface, the nüvifone is a very good option. I'll be doing a full review of it, and I'll be doing a full demonstration of the navigation functionality so you can help decide if the phone's right for you. For exclusive content, check me out on Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers, and to learn more about TechnoBuffalo, check out technobuffalo.com. Links will be in the sidebar. Bye-bye.